Hey everyone, and welcome to the last episode of Recapping the Past, Saved by the Bell edition. I am Soda, Matt Majot, whoever you want to call me. As usual, I am joined by Ben. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm glad we're finally done with this. I'm putting that all out on Front Street. And today we're doing something a little different. We've actually got a very special guest joining us today. It is none other than John from Movie Lovers Unite. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you again for having me. I enjoyed our last conversation with Adam Sandler movies, so it's just good to be back with you guys.
Of course, yeah. And we put out the call for Who Wants to Talk Save the Bell, and you were the first one to answer. So I was like, well, of course. It's always a good time whenever he's on.
Right.
All right. So we'll start off with you. How did you come across Saved by the Bell for the first time?
Believe it or not, my older brother was watching it one day, and then all of a sudden, I started getting sucked into it. And the more that I kept on watching and everything, the more I kept on liking it to the point where I started just watching it without him. And that's how I ended up. Yeah. So he would get mad at me if I went on ahead and watched it without him. And everything. I was like, well, it's not my fault that you weren't here. You went out with your friends, so I'm just gonna go on ahead and be the other person that went on ahead and just watch it without you.
So did you watch it first run as it was airing, or was it like on reruns? Or
to be honest with you, the show was still going at that time. Because it was in the 90s and everything as well. I was even around when they had the college years as well.
Yeah.
Those were my favorite ones as well. I like the college years,
I'm a
but I also
big
like
college years fan.
Yes. But, I liked the first season. To me, was maybe the roughest because of the fact, even revisiting now, because we didn't have Mario Lopez in the very first couple of episodes.
Oh, you're talking Good Morning Miss Bliss.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah. But we had Lisa, we had Screech, of course, we had Zach, and all the OGs of Saved by the Bell. So, I definitely like the fact that we had the three of them that was still in there. But, it was just a little rough, especially seeing Building actually flirting with the teacher whenever when Zach winds up lying about what grade he's in and things like that.
Yeah, you could tell that there were like some nuggets of what we would eventually know is Saved by the Bell, but it was very weird going back and watching that and having like the storyline split between the teachers and the students. It's very strange when all you know is the shenanigans of the core five.
Right. And then another thing I found that was kind of odd was Zach going over to the teacher's house, because I'm like, okay, I don't even go over to my own teacher's house. So how does the kid know where his teacher actually lives, especially in California?
It's funny, like as an adult, I'm on some executive boards with a couple of my teachers from high school, and it's still weird 15 years after I graduated to go to their house.
Wow.
Yeah. That is a feeling that never goes away.
Exactly. But what about you guys? When did you guys start watching it?
Well, I can't exactly pinpoint a specific, but I'm apparently quite a bit younger than you, so I caught most of it in reruns after it aired. I saw the college years as it aired live, but I mean the main show itself was all on TBS for me, because I would have been 6, 7. Same with you, Ben?
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah,
I'm 35, so
I'm only 2. Okay, so we're 2 years younger than you.
Yeah.
No, for me it was like twice a day. I think it was on Saturdays and Sundays, and that's where I caught my viewing of it.
For me, it was every weekday. It was a 2-hour block, like from in the morning to like 10 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so for me it would have been about midday.
Yeah, for me it was probably around 12 in the afternoon, and on Eastern time in Boston.
Oh yeah.
So around that, between maybe 12 or 1, because that's when my brother would actually start watching it, around the afternoon hour. But I was just mostly glued in whenever I saw Screech and stuff like that, whenever he was first crushing on somebody. And it took me back to when I was crushing on somebody and wanting to know how does the person know that I'm into them, even though they don't know I'm into them? And how do I know if they're into me? So I was going through that whole entire
use
thing.
Screech as a barometer is what you're saying, which is not a good thing. Good
idea. No, definitely not. But I can actually say our lockers were too small to actually fit me in a locker. So that's a plus.
That's good. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been able to fit into a locker ever either.
Me neither.
It's funny though, after I graduated, they went to half lockers, so nobody's fitting in those lockers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
you know the little square?
The standard 7-foot locker, but then I graduated, they brought in the grade 10s to that school, and now it's all half lock. It's really weird.
Yeah, I was like little small square lockers.
Yeah. No, it's half the size of a regular stand-up locker.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like a 3-foot locker instead.
So, who were all your favorite characters? Who is your number one favorite character? And you always gravitated to?
Okay. My go-to character will always be Zach.
Of course.
For this. But my other character, I would have to say, that really had a lot of depth to their character as the seasons went on was, of course, Slater.
Oh, for sure.
Because he had a lot more stuff dealing with him between him, his dad, moving from city to city, town to town, state to state, because he was in the military background and stuff like that, you know. And that took a toll on Slater because he wasn't able to have that many friends because of that. And he even acknowledges that on one of the episodes. And, you know, it makes me think, wow, I wouldn't want to be in the military because I would actually not be friends with half the people that I'm friends with now.
Same.
And everything. So that's my other favorite one. I would, as far as favorite girl on the thing, I would actually have to go with Jessie.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, the other two didn't, like, Kelly had some growth or whatever, but Jessie seemed to be the more well-rounded, all-rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. She had...
I've always said Lisa's pretty one-note.
That's true. For me, personally, with Jessie, she had that spark, you know, where she was spunky, she knew what she wanted, she knew how to get what she wanted, and also, too, you know, another thing I really liked was she was zany when she wanted to be zany. In other words, is spontaneous, funny, outgoing, pretty much all the characteristics that I would actually look at for a girlfriend as well, because I like to actually have a little bit of that, you know.
But no, you know what? That character was ahead of her time. If you take a look at it, there weren't that many characters like her back then.
That's true.
Right.
You don't get too excited.
Yeah. But the only thing I found really weird about that character was occasionally they put her in a cheerleading costume. That's kind of against what her character is. It's almost like, we need another girl. Jessie, come here.
Exactly. And she was more of the feminist type.
Yeah.
And everything, which is ahead of, like you said, it was ahead of her time. If this was in a 2020 world or 2021 world that we live in now, she would have actually fit right on in.
Oh, 100%.
And I like how, I really loved how brilliant she is.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. She was definitely probably the better, I'd even say the better actor of the three.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Which is also why we got Showgirls, because of that talent.
Yeah, and which is why she didn't appear in the college years or even in the final episode, or even in the movie all that much, was because of that movie.
Yeah, was that movie really that bad?
You know what? It's getting a lot of appreciation nowadays, but it is a batshit crazy movie, my man.
It really is. And go on, Sarah.
I was gonna say, like, it's a movie that you kind of have to sit and watch at least once. But yeah, it's fucking bonkers. The sex scene in the pool was just like, when did she become a fish?
It did look like she was a mermaid. I'm not gonna lie.
It did, yeah. Trust me, just watch it and you'll be like, you'll see.
Definitely, and also too, like I remember it came out during the same time as Mortal Kombat did, and I remember everybody going to see Mortal Kombat and that, so the lines were like really big during that time.
Yeah,
and
I remember that movie. My parents watching that movie, and of course I'm like 8 years old, and of course they're not going to let me watch it. But for a long time, I was like, I want to see this movie with Jesse in it. And I saw it, I was like, I don't want to see this movie with Jesse in it. Probably the only good thing about it when you're an adolescent boy is, well, the nudity.
But yeah, for me, I mean, with that being said, it seems like when your expectations are set to a higher standard, or maybe a lower standard, depending on how you actually look when you're a teenager. But it's like you just want to see some TNA and see Jesse, and that's it. But you're also expecting a good movie out of it, though, at the same time.
Yeah.
And then your expectations are lowered once you actually see what is actually in that film.
Yeah, it's like if you ever really get bored and you want to watch a movie, Ben, I'd suggest just watching it just to get it out of the way and see what all the hubbub is about, because it's all over the place. It's like a Frankenstein of a movie. And to think that was also around the time that Striptease was coming out too.
Yep. Which is also another not so good movie.
Yeah, you're right. It was kind of like Dante's Peak versus Volcano sort of thing, right?
Exactly.
Like two movies about the same subject matter. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
you know, but as far as my favorite episodes go and everything, there's actually a couple that actually sticks out to me. My other favorite one is when Zach is actually trying to win concert tickets and Screech is over there in the locker. And so he actually has to call Screech on this big old huge cell phone at that time that looks like something from World War II, and he has
still call it the Zach Morris phone. I still call it the Zach Morris phone.
You know what? That's actually a good term for it, because even in the Night at the Roxbury's, I was thinking that's the same type of phone that Zach Morris actually used.
I remember, what grade was that? That would have been 11th grade. We came back from a band trip and we stopped at a garage sale, and somebody bought a Zach Morris cell phone, and it was like the talk of the bus. Yeah,
that's hilarious.
You remember how much it was?
I was like $1. I think when we got back, they ended up smashing it.
I'm cool.
Wow.
Well,
I
you're
didn't
15
think
years
those things were destructible. Well, here's the reason why I said wow was because I didn't think those things were indestructible.
Well, they're not. It wasn't made by Nokia, so we know.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
But, you know, I did like that part with the, like I said, when he's calling Screech up and they're trying to get concert tickets and everything. It just makes me laugh because I was in that same situation as well, where I was trying to win concert tickets before and things like that. And it was during the time, too, when cell phones was actually becoming something that we would actually bring to school. So we were listening to 97.9, which is this rock station, and we found out that a certain band was actually going to be in town. So we were listening to 97.9, trying to hide our cell phones from the teachers so the way we can call. And then we're like, psst, psst, what? Did you get through? No. Did you get through? No. And then the teacher's like, what do you mean, did you get through? I'm sorry. We meant, like, are you getting through to us as far as understanding things?
Nice
because
recovery.
I'm still not understanding it. And then next thing you know, she starts repeating it. Then we're like, so did you get through to online?
Nice.
So, you know, that's the one that's relatable. And then there's also the Bruce Springsteen tickets when Zach tries to hustle for Bruce Springsteen tickets as well.
Yeah.
But then there's also another thing that I remember, because this show has so many layers to the point where you can actually remember stuff that you used to do in high school or in middle school and stuff like that as well. And that's what I loved about it, was the fact that it's so much stuff that's in there that you can actually pick out, dissect, And you know what? You don't even have to watch a whole season. And so that's the beauty of that, you know?
Do you think it's a show that would hold up? Like, if you were to introduce it to kids nowadays, you think it would be a hit?
I don't know, because... Go on, Ben.
No, after you, I'm sorry. You're the cast.
It's okay. But no, I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, they tried doing something similar where rebooting it with... don't forget, we tried doing a reboot of Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World, and that didn't really work out. But
I'd say it did. It lasted a few seasons.
That's true. It did last a few seasons, but I mean, I think some kids didn't actually know how to actually handle certain things within that show itself and the context with it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more harder to be relatable for them compared to how we grew up. So if there was a way to actually incorporate some of the stuff that they go through versus trying to do the old school mentality of what we went through, I think that would have actually lasted longer. But I think they were trying to actually convert our stuff on what we learned from Boy Meets World and convert it over to whatever year that show actually came out. So if they would do that by the bill and put it in a 2020 world, or 2021 world, rather, I think it would actually work out, and we are actually seeing that right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the reboot, which, as we recorded this, just was renewed for a second season.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just, what was it, yesterday, the day before, I think, or some of that? You've seen the reboot, I'm assuming, right?
I didn't get around to it yet on my radar. It's just that I have other stuff that I've been busy with at the moment.
Well, fair enough. Luckily, it's a short binge.
Yeah.
I've made it well known on the show. On hindsight, I really don't like what they did with Zach in the show, or Kelly, but that's for another time.
Well, I think with Zach, though, I think he pretty much turned into his father.
No, I wouldn't say that. No, God, no.
Really?
Okay, without spoiling it, they took all the things that we know about Zach Morris, what is the number one thing we all know about Zach Morris? He can be a dick. And they ratcheted it up to like 15.
What?
Yeah. I'd say that. Like, they completely ignored all the development that he made throughout the series in the college years, and they just focused on him being a lunatic.
Nah, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that they got rid of that. You know, it took a while to develop Zach into who he is, and now you're going to try and put him back into the way he was or used to be in high school years and everything. And, you know, I don't like the fact that they try to do something like that.
Yeah, like, and you can tell, like, at the end they're trying to do a redemption arc, but it's just the initial portrayal of Zach. It's like, why?
It's not worth watching, right?
It's 100%. Yeah, it's a great show. I actually like what they're doing with it. It's just, I don't know. It's just, to me, I wouldn't have leaned that heavily into that part.
I'm with you. I agree.
Like, I mean, they could have still all done the same decisions, but they didn't have to make him like 120% dick.
Exactly. They could have actually put the layers that they put into him in the first from before, and then make him a little bit dickish, but also have some type of way of actually shaping up throughout the season and tying him up a little bit. But, you know, that's just the way it goes with reboots and stuff like that. They just want to go ahead and add whatever they want and get rid of the continuity within what we learned about certain characters.
Well, one of the head guys in that show is the guy behind the Zach Morris's, what is it? Zach Morris's Trash?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, the show is worth it, but it's like, I'm hoping they just kind of bring Zach back a little bit in the second season. Can you imagine how Governor Zach Morris deals with the coronavirus?
I can't wait.
But, you know, another thing, though, that I want to actually mention, remember the whole driver's ed?
The one where Zach tried to bust Slater?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually a pretty good episode about when they were all at a party and then they're drinking.
Oh, yeah, that other one. Yes. We were talking when we talked, it was a little on the nose, but it's still one of the better PSA episodes was put out at that time.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another thing that I actually want to mention as well that I thought that was actually good that they did was when you think that Zach is going to get away with something, Belding's always 10 steps ahead of him.
Yeah.
Every single time. There's always a time whenever I'm thinking Zach's going to get away with something. Because he's always coming up with some kind of scam or something, and then Belding's right there every single time.
Yeah, and sometimes it was pretty damn funny. What do you think of the Belding-Zach relationship? Like, because I mean, you saw like it was kind of, nemesis type of thing as you would expect, but you saw at the very end of the original series, and you saw it in the Hawaiian movie, and you even see it when he showed up in the Thanksgiving episode of Collegers, that there is a bond between those characters. What did you think of the principal-student relationship they portrayed in this?
To be honest with you, I loved it because it showed that Zach is now grown.
Yeah.
And been shaped into the man that Belding was hoping that he would actually turn into. He's no longer the kid who wants to hustle, no longer the slacker, but someone that is sophisticated and grew into something rather than nothing.
Yeah, and
that's something that Belding has always wanted.
Yeah, because Zach is smart. He's a good kid deep down, but yeah, that's why like Belding was doing his best to hold on and cultivate it, and I think he did.
Maybe character-wise, maybe that's not why. Maybe that's why Belding. Oh well, never mind.
What?
He's not in the reboot.
Okay. Oh yeah, but remember season 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I actually had like here's the thing. I remember this one teacher that we had. As a matter of fact, I would even call him like the Mr. Feeney of my my 5th grade year all the way up to my 12th grade year, because he actually followed me from my 5th grade year to my 12th grade year.
Stalker. I didn't realize that.
Because at first, I remember my friends and I, we were like, you know what? We finally did it. We finally got rid of Mr. Wheat. He's not going to be with us anymore. All of a sudden, how you doing? I'm like, shit. But after a while, you start changing, right? You start maturing.
Yeah.
And then as you mature, you realize that the teachers that were there to follow you from the time that you watch you grow up was actually there to help you all along. And that's exactly how I felt between Zach and Mr. Belding. I felt like the relationship just got closer. The bond got closer.
Yeah.
And the maturity got closer. It's even better. And it's deep rooted inside of them to where there is a friendship there.
Yeah. And, like Belding said in the episode, I saw my kids were in trouble. No matter what, they're still his kids.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to think. I didn't have a teacher follow me from 5th to 12th grade, but I did have a couple teachers follow me from junior to senior high.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty, my question is this: what was your reaction when you thought you might have gotten rid of one of them or whatever, and it turns out they followed you?
Well, that's the thing. I actually didn't have them. I didn't have their classes, so it didn't really bother me all that much, to be honest. Yeah.
Right. But with us, Mr. Wheat was always the type of person that was always like, "What you doing? Hey, buddy." Just being annoying and everything. And it got to the point where we're like, okay, this guy's not really awkward. It made things a lot awkward with us. But, it's all about, as you're growing older and everything and realizing, that there is somebody out there that actually cares about you. And that's something that I really have to appreciate.
I had a good chuckle when I moved back to my hometown, though, and found out how many of my junior high teachers moved up to the senior high. I was like, that's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, shit, Clucifer's there now. We had this teacher named Mr. J. We called him Clucifer. And good teacher. Hated the 8th graders, though. Hated 8th graders. And I remember I'm in 10th grade, and he's looking at me dressed in my, 1980s hand-me-downs that I got from my uncle, listening to, Wasp and, the Top Gun soundtrack and all that stuff. He looked at me, he's like, Matt, you were born 20 years too late.
Like, I appreciate the effort, but
yeah,
you need to lose the denim jacket, the Top Gun glasses, the aviator glasses.
Well, I didn't have the glasses, but yes, I had the jacket. I had the Canadian tuxedo.
Nice.
Yeah. So Screech. I mean, Screech is the man, isn't he?
Right. He definitely is. I love the chemistry between Lisa and him, always interacting with each other.
Yeah.
She was always the girl that he couldn't have, right? But
yeah,
he wanted
no matter
her, but it was like, right. And, I like the fact that Screech always tried. He never gave up.
Yeah, you can't fault.
Matter of fact, I was like, right. I remember doing that with my crush, though. Like, I would actually buy her earrings on Christmas and everything, and try and just woo her. It just didn't work out. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pretend I'm in a band. I'm gonna try to do that. I would actually have a guitar case and everything too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll open it. It's empty. No, I unfortunately I was too much of a chicken shit in high school to do any of that stuff. Still am. Actually.
Well, I had the leather jacket for starters, and then I also had the actual guitar case inside the guitar.
Nice.
Could I play? No.
Now, see, I am a musician, but it's a saxophone. I can't play guitar for shit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
See, I learned how to play guitar before, so.
Yeah. I was gonna say, so what are your favorite Screech moments? Because I know I've definitely got a few. I like the one where Zach sends him into Spy and Belding and keeps popping his head out of the filing cabinet, which I actually found as a gift the other day, which made me pretty happy. The episode where Zach and Lisa have a thing, like I think that was a real great growth episode for Screech. But hands down, my favorite Screech moment is Sinead O'Connor.
That was a great one. I have to admit to that. There's even one, I think, whenever he's hanging outside of, remember him and Zach are out on he's actually hanging out on a tree, and Zach is actually trying to sneak him inside the house or something like that. Or it was, I want to say it was Jesse or something like that. That's right. They were trying to take the pills away from Jesse or something.
No, Screech wasn't involved in that. Screech wasn't involved in that.
Okay.
No, that was Slater who found it at first, and then Zach is the one that found it in her bed, and that's when we got the whole, I'm so excited. I know earlier in the season, you would have Screech go out on the tree, and there was the infamous one where he got electrocuted and he had ESP.
That's it.
That's the one you were thinking of?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. That was my favorite Screech moment. Then there was another one where he dresses up like a cheerleader, and he was... Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah. And Barbara Bush.
What?
Barbara Bush.
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to see was all the times he hears Screech said, the last time he said that, I ended up naked in a bus. I want to see those things. Like, what the hell does that do?
I would like to actually see that, too, as a flashback or something, or a little nod to what he did.
Yeah.
Because that would be great. Because I want to know what kind of scam that they were actually doing. And then I remember the friendship bracelet thing that they did.
Yeah, the buddy bands and the friendship bracelets.
Yeah. That was another great Screech moment as well, switching out the bracelets.
Oh, let's not forget the episode where he meets Violet's parents.
Yeah.
And then they don't want them to see each other, and at the very end he saves her at the recital.
Oh yeah.
I love Screech and Violet.
Yeah.
That could be my favorite couple in the series.
In a way, it's a shame that she got 90210. I mean, like, great for her. Big plus for her career. But I mean, it would have been nice to have seen more Violet.
Is that why? I really got.
Yeah. At the same time. Yeah, 90210 would have started in 1990.
Yeah. And you can actually tell, if I had a show that was going to be headlined and everything, I wouldn't want to be just a co-star. I wouldn't actually want to be inside my own show.
Yeah, no, 100%. That was the best thing she ever did. But I mean, just like in hindsight, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Screech and Violet. I think we only had him for like 3 episodes.
Yeah. There was a Green Cup episode.
Yeah.
A dress episode. And then the house party.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes.
not spoilers, but they do call back to in the reboot, which is pretty cool.
They do.
Oh, they do to give her a little nod. That's actually pretty cool.
Oh, there's a lot of nods to the original series. Yeah, when you get time, I think if you get like an afternoon, I'd suggest watching the reboot just for all that.
I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, every time I hear, no joke, every time I hear Barbara Ann now, I think of Saved by the Bell.
Well, it's so funny. I love that scene, but for some reason, every time I think of it, I think it's the mama, not Mama Ran. I don't know why I mix those two up.
Barbara
Ran.
Yeah.
I always liked the stuff at the Mac, though. I always loved when they were sitting at the Mac and everything, just that hangout. And everything. I remember when Screech was trying to woo her with the magic and stuff like that too, with Lisa.
Yep.
And then there was also the model stuff that he was doing too when he was actually modeling. That was actually another one of my favorites.
When he during Aloha Slater, where he dressed up as the Pineapple Princess. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or during the infamous "I'm so excited" episode where he fills in for Jesse. Clearly lip sync. Nobody's paying attention.
You guys
different colleges and stuff.
Yeah. Are you team James? Who do you like better?
I'd have to go with James just because of how integral he was in those two episodes. Like Max was just more an ancillary character. James actually had a purpose.
That's true. James actually did give him some good advice.
Yeah.
Max just basically was like the guy who just wanted to hang out with them.
And he still does.
Right. And that's he's still there.
You see him twice in the reboot, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now is he a waiter or is it Max still around? Or
he's still at the Max.
Oh wow! I didn't know if the Max was still around or if they changed the name and he was just still working there.
No, it's the Max, and they modernized it, but it still looks like the Max.
Okay, I was actually curious about that because after a certain time, whatever, things change and evolve. So I'm thinking maybe the Max might not actually be there, and it got changed into a different name. So that was something that I was actually wondering about. So,
no, it's still the same. That's one. I mean, I don't think you can have Saved by the Bell at base.
You can't.
True.
You can't. I mean, it's like, I can't think of anything else.
So let's hop on over to my favorite interpretation of the show, which is the college years.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the college years?
College years for me was great. I mean, I love the opening thing when Zach is like, I'm going to get over on this teacher. I'm going to have an easy year, no homework. It's going to be great. It's just going to be just like I was in high school all over again. And then when you get introduced into the teacher, he's actually sitting behind Zach. And then he goes, and the teacher's like, you know what? I heard about this teacher, I think he was such a jerk off or something like that. I'm just paraphrasing. But I heard this teacher told Dweeb. And Zach goes, you know what? I think he has one of those haircuts where he thinks that he's just better than everybody else, wears glasses, has the vest. He goes, yeah, that's what I've heard too. And then next thing you know, he gets up and he goes, by the way, I'm your teacher and your professor. And Zach's like, well, I'm doomed.
Doesn't he owe him $20? He bet him money.
Yeah, he owes him $20. Yeah, he actually owes him $20.
Yeah, what I love about that is they took somebody who in the original series is the big man on campus, big fish, small pond, and then they turned him into the little fish, and it was awesome trying to see that egomaniac cope with that sometimes.
Right, because he was his own ego got the best of him. And everything. And he was like a fish out of water.
Yeah, it's like some of the stuff he could pull, he could get away with in high school. He tried and he couldn't get away with it. An example is when he imitated Lasky.
Right.
He almost ruined Lasky.
I remember a couple of other things that I remembered was the whole entire thing with the rave and everything too. Whenever he tried getting away with the rave, and then Screech with the helium, he got helium instead of what.
Yeah, and then at the very end of the episode, Mike walks in his room. What happened to my room? No furniture.
Mike was actually my favorite thing in the college year. So Mike was always my favorite character.
Mike is a great character. I've got personal affinity for Alex. I really liked Alex.
Alex is great too.
Yeah, especially
but
like,
she's also one.
The one that comes to mind is when they're AC's finding out his Latino heritage, and she joins in the protests.
Oh yeah. If you actually think about it, though, she kind of had a little bit of Jesse in her.
Yeah, she was Jesse if the neurosis was turned up to 20.
Definitely.
Do you guys think Alex and Slender worked together, or do you think she would have been better with Screech?
I think she would have been better with Screech.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see them driving out better.
If you'd have put her with Screech, you wouldn't have gotten that episode with the tennis player, which is really good.
True.
Agreed.
True.
Yeah, because with that one, you saw that Zach sometimes takes Screech for granted, and Screech is growing up.
Yeah.
Right. There's gonna come enough is enough.
Yeah, exactly. And it was bound to happen where somebody was going to like Screech more than they did Zach.
Yeah. I like part of that episode. Screech had his grow up, and he was leaving, and Slender came walking in, and Screech was like, "You're going to make me," Slender was like, "Screech, what's up?" And Screech was like, "I'm leaving, you're going to make me damn, I can't. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, it's where he gets the blow up and he pushes Slater out of the way. It's just like,
I like that one. I also like the one where they went to this restaurant that's kind of like Hooters, because back in those days, that's when Hooters was really taking off.
Yeah.
So they made like a sleazy kind of, Dollar General version of what that Hooters is on the show. And Screech is thinking that this girl is really into him, and Zach is actually having to give him the realization. She calls everybody honey. It's not just you. He goes, no, look.
And then you had the flip of that, where Kelly wants to become his doctor, and Zach's like, that's a stupid idea, basically, because you're going to be here forever. And she stupidly listens to him and quits and keeps working there. And it's like, Zach has to learn the lesson too. Don't be such a dick to your friends.
I am using that episode is very important for Zach and Kelly. Because you realize how much they respect each other's opinion. And with that, you see, okay, this is the real thing. This isn't some high school crush. This is who they're supposed to be with.
Yeah, exactly. There's something here.
Even that scene when she's about to leave on that cruise with the teacher. Because remember, that's another thing that it covered. It covered a lot of issues that was going on within the colleges itself during that time with teacher-student relationships.
By that point, she'd already broken up with Lasky. Like, they were together, and then she was going to go for 3 months, and Zach didn't want to let her go because he's just like, shit, she's going to meet somebody and stuff. So that's when he tries to con his way onto the thing by, conning Screech out of the job.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah. Because that's the second to last episode. That's where he proposes to her.
Yeah.
Right. And that's actually one of my favorite ones from the college years, because it actually shows the maturity of Zach, in a sense. Yeah. Where he's like, I'm in this for the long run.
Yeah, and whenever I think of Zach and Kelly, it's always that scene on the ferry, on the boat. Always.
Same.
I think of that scene on the one in the, I guess you can call it airport, like when Zach was going to skydiving.
The one right before that, yeah.
Yeah, when they profess their love to each other.
Yeah, exactly. Because Zach didn't want to end up like the professor who didn't do anything with his life.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one that I was thinking of too. But he might not even be with any. He might just be like a professor in a sense.
Yeah,
and just be comfortable where he's at rather than something new.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think the overall legacy of the show is?
I feel like it has a pretty good fan base and everything still. I think there's still people that still love the show. If people would actually say Saved by the Bell versus Boy Meets World, I wonder what they would actually choose. That's my question. When you look at everything.
I would go Saved by the Bell. Don't get me wrong, I really do enjoy Boy Meets World, but I Saved by the Bell, that one I watched more. I watched Boy Meets World. I caught up with later in life. I saw episodes.
Okay.
I would watch episodes.
Right.
But, I mean, I finally went through the whole thing later in life for Saved by the Bell. By the time I got on DVD, I'd already seen all the episodes.
I don't know. For me, Boy Meets World feels more realistic.
Yeah.
There was something fantastical about Saved by the Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're watching somebody's fantasy about living in California, about going to Malibu, living here. It seems like a fantasy. And Boy Meets World, I don't know, I just feel like it takes its audience a little bit more seriously to me.
You're not wrong.
It
I
did
will
have
say
some.
it's a better written show. Like overall, it's the better show. But if you were to point a gun to my head and say, "Okay, name me the first show from the '90s you can think of," it's always going to be Saved by the Bell. Always.
Okay,
Same.
that's fair. That's fair.
In the same
Because
way
of
as
how
you.
iconic it is.
Right. And here's the thing. The reason why I'm thinking that it might be mostly fantasy, though, because think of it like this. Like, when we're in school, we're protected from the outside world. We don't know how the outside world actually is.
Yeah.
And everything. So, basically, we're just kids in the school. We see our friends, and that's it. We don't see the dangers of the outside world, if that makes any sense, to the point where our innocence are actually protecting us from how the world actually is, which actually indicates what the school actually is like a safety net for the kids to protecting them from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah, and when Bell brought those those outside moments in, they really hit well. Really hit with those. Like
right,
the
between
episode,
the anorexic, right.
Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, you got the I'm So Excited episode, which originally was supposed to be Speed, which if you substitute Speed for caffeine pills makes total sense. You've got that, yeah, you've got that episode. You've got the episode with Belding's brother. You got episodes where Zach has to do some introspective learning about himself, like Zach's war, running Zach, you know.
Right, and then you also have the conflict with Zach's father. You also have the conflict with Slater's father. Then you also have to deal with. There was even the new girl that moved into town as well. It was part of the military background, I think, the same way that Slater was.
Yeah, his ex-girlfriend.
Yep. Which I thought that was really interesting, an interesting twist, because you would think that Slater would actually be with her, but instead, she winds up being with someone that's the exact opposite of what Slater is, instead of being with someone that's the same exact.
Yeah, Zach. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Because I'm actually kind of blanking right now.
Let's see. For my least favorite, it would actually be the beach stuff. I didn't really care. Yeah. For me, I understand what they were going for and stuff like that. I understand it's about summer jobs and, being with your friends during the summer and working together and stuff like that. But I don't know. There's just something about the beach stuff that I was kind of bored with in a sense that I didn't really find as funny as the other stuff. That's me. I mean, I know that the beach stuff is pretty much everybody's favorite thing to go to. It's just that I'm the very opposite of that. I might be the one out of a million that probably doesn't like it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, I personally, I enjoy it. Give me the school stuff any day, but I mean, like, yeah, I personally liked the stuff they introduced in that.
I think my favorite stuff is, I know it is not really fair, but I can't help it. It's Good Morning Miss Vince. I know it's the blueprint of what yet to come. To me, it is not as good, personally.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I liked all the stuff we got with the kids. The adult stuff, take it or leave it, really.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. Now, what about the movies? Because there was 2 movies they did. There was Hawaiian Vacation, which took place between seasons 3 and 4, even though it was filmed after season 4, and the Wedding movie. What were your thoughts on those movies?
To be honest with you, I prefer the Hawaiian one over the wedding one. Don't get me wrong, I wanted to see the inclusion between Zach. But I love the conflict with the Hawaiian stuff, though. The confrontations with different situations that they were actually faced with.
Yeah.
That's what I liked. I like confrontations, the conflicts, and also the jokes that went into it.
See, I agree with you on that. Like I mentioned when we talked about that movie, like the wedding episode is the wrap up to the whole series, so you kind of need some context with what's going on. But with the Hawaiian Vacation, it's its own self-contained story. You can just pop it in any time, and you know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, it's still very funny. Like the Belding stuff when he pretends to be the teacher was freaking hilarious.
It was really great.
Yeah,
but like you said, the conclusion for the movie and everything else worked because it wrapped up everything in a nice little bow. But you actually have to watch the whole series to actually understand it.
Yeah,
and stuff like that on how they got that far versus watching the Hawaiian stuff where you can actually just have a good time watching it, watch confrontations, the conflicts, watch these friendships grow and stuff like that.
Yeah, it does help. Like it does help to know who the characters are because I mean, otherwise, running into Belding and be like, oh no, you guys, kind of wouldn't make sense for you. I've never seen the series before, but for the most part, yeah, you can just plop it in whenever and get it.
Right.
So, there's really more to come out between 3 and 4, right?
Yeah, so the Hawaiian movie was originally filmed after the graduation episode, but it aired before the final season, and it was also filmed before they did the Tory stuff.
It's so confusing. In the timeline, was this the year after Malibu?
Yes, because in the Hawaiian thing, Slater and Jesse are dating.
Yep.
Which I believe they break up at the beginning of the final season, maybe.
Yeah, they do. They wind up breaking up during that during that time as well. But that's something that I actually have to say that I enjoyed was Zach sitting down on the sand and everything and just watching the waves and everything. And even though he doesn't really mention it or anything like that, but it's kind of like one of those things, just as he was just sitting there, and it kind of like, where do I go from here? What's my life gonna be like? How is it gonna change, kind of thing? Just no dialogue, just him being glued in.
Yeah,
to things.
I wish we got more moments like that. To be honest,
me too.
Because this is beautiful. It's a great moment. They really fit what the show was though.
Yeah, but sometimes, man, you need just to flip it on its head a little bit. And I thought it of what was going on, I think it worked very well.
I agree, but my point is, I don't think you could have done that too much. Because I think if you did it too much, it would have felt odd. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass here. I don't know.
That is a good point.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I wish we did have, though, is more connective story arcs. Because every episode is pretty much its own thing. They're not connected one way or another. There's really no callbacks. Would have been nice if you actually had a through line, which you do get in the because there aren't many shows from that time that are like that, where it's just episode without no connective tissue.
That's true. You're going to watch any season and not be connected.
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many continuity lapses in that show; it's ridiculous.
There is, and like you said, I wish that there was a lot of character arcs. There's not really a lot of character arcs where people actually change unless you actually get towards the very end of the high school years and go into the college years. That's when you start developing them even more.
Yeah, college years
is where the character arcs actually shine.
Yeah, because you had it right from the beginning. Zach and Kelly Zach wants Kelly back and stuff. So there's an arc right there that plays through right to the very end. And then you've got the couple episode arc with Lasky, and then
right. But like you said, there's not many that actually follows within the high school years, which I wish that we would actually got. Because come on, you change through each year you go to high school. You're not the same person. But basically with Saved by the Bell, you're pretty much repeating the same formula to the point where it's like no one's changing. There's no really any transformation. And even whenever you actually have the confrontations with the fathers and stuff like that, the next episode is like, okay, that's over with, but there's no transformation from
it's like it never happened. It's like it never happened.
Okay, let's try something fun here real quick before we wrap up. Let's take an average episode and break down the formula. Just really quickly. So the episode opens up. Zach realizes there's some kind of problem, right?
Usually caused by Zach.
Zach. He comes up with a scheme, gets help from Screech. Scheme works for a short time. Then everybody gets clued in on it. Then sometimes then to the table of Zach, he gets panicked. He realizes they're getting back at him. He mentioned this in episode over. That's the amazing episode of Saved by the Bell.
And then rinse, wash, repeat. Zach still didn't learn his lesson.
Yeah,
exactly.
What about that makes it so enjoyable to go back and rewatch?
Because the actors who played the characters were so damn good at playing them, you couldn't help but love them.
And that's it. You go to Saved by the Bell for the characters. You love the characters. That's why you go back. You don't go back for the fun. You don't go back for the formulaic story. You go back for the characters.
Yeah. There's a reason why this show has lasted so long with people like us.
Right.
Because I don't know how, but we related to those characters. Like, I mean, that show is as far from my fucking life as that you'll ever get.
Same. The only thing that I can say that brought me back each day or each week was because of the fact that, you can actually be represented as Screech, but also maybe have a little bit of Zach in it as well. You could actually be a combination of all three characters if you actually think about it.
Yeah.
So you can relate on different aspects. And you're always wondering what these characters are actually going to do next and everything. And it draws you in every single time because you're like, what are they going to do? How are they going to interact with each other? What kind of shenanigans is Zach going to start up? And that's why you go back every single time. And what kind of lessons are they going to learn?
Yeah, it's a formula that it wasn't broken. So why would you want to mess with it? And I mean, it lasted 4 years. Or 5, depending on how you look at it. Because my DVD collection is a 5-season set, and everywhere else it's 4.
You know what I'm not going to mention about this fucking show next week?
The hopping between episodes?
What?
The hopping between episodes because nobody can get the order right?
Yeah, oh my god, the fucking episode order. I want to punch the guy who came up with this.
Yeah. If you look, there's the final season, there's an episode that's in the final season that was filmed in season 1.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
Yeah, there's 2 episodes in season 2 that were from season 1, and I think there's another one in the third one. Oh yeah, it's bonkers.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, my DVD set list is different than what's on Hulu and on IMDb.
That's crazy. That something had been done in that editing room when they were putting that stuff together.
I don't know, and it's weird. Like season 5 episodes are technically season 4. I don't even know if there was a season 5, to be honest.
I think there's
now that you mention
season 5 with October season.
No, because there's some there's some Kelly and Jesse episodes on that season that I have.
Who the fuck? Go ahead.
And Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was filmed in season 2, yet it's in the final season. That's a season 2 episode.
Yeah.
And then on the DVD, you've got Malibu Sands, School, Malibu Sands. Get all the Malibu Sands stuff together.
I'm going to quote John Campea. This is what he says. Continuity, schmontinuity. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. Saved by the Bell, X-Men of 90s teen sitcoms.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And on that note, thank you very much, John, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been great.
And where can everybody find you on the interwebs?
Okay, so you guys can find me at Movie Lovers Unite on Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite. We also have a webpage, www.movieloversunite.com, for all your entertainment needs and wants. You guys can also listen to my podcast on wherever you actually get your podcast. We actually do a show on YouTube for live, and then I convert the files into audio formats later on. And then, of course, you can follow me at John DeGorio 8 on Twitter, or Movie Lovers Unit on Twitter as well. Those are the places that you can pretty much reach me at. And also, too, we also have a Pinterest, Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite over there, and on Instagram, Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite.
Right on. And I'm not mistaken, aren't you doing trailer reactions as well right now?
Yeah, I'm doing trailer reactions with Louie from Schmoes of the North. We're actually doing that. We actually release trailers Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays right now. And a matter of fact, we just released our newest one. That's a Denzel Washington movie called The Little Things. So go on ahead, check that out on the YouTube channel as well. Like I said, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, sometimes in the mornings, you're going to get a new trailer reaction from us. Let us know what you think. I cannot wait to actually see what you guys actually have to say if you guys actually follow me over to Movie Lovers Unite. So, and I'm very responsive to whenever you guys actually comment in the comments as well to let me know what you guys think, where I stand. So go ahead, comment below, give me a like, share that like button and everything with everybody else.
And I thought I was a busy man.
Ben,
where can everybody find you?
You can find me at my Twitter at BenRadio2 every Tuesday on Shooting the Breeze with Matt here, every Saturday here on Recapping, every Sunday on Get Sweaty. Is that everything? Every Saturday on my Schmoedown show about Schmoedown. And I think, and every Friday on Ben's Hot Takes.
You can find me over at soda_the_saxman. You can find me in all the shows that Ben listed on this channel. And you can also find me over on Schmoes of the North with the aforementioned Louie. And also my friends Dave and Daniel, where we break down all the week in the Schmoedown news. And we also have our other show where we sit down with Schmoedown personalities. Currently, I think we are just wrapping up our series on the rookie class that's coming in this year. Definitely check those out. Half-hour episodes, easily digestible. You get to meet the competitors. It was a great time, each and every one of them. I've got a feeling a lot of these guys are going to make it into the league this year. It's going to be a hoot. All right, so now that we're done Saved by the Bell, we're going to be going on to our next show. And Ben, are you ready for it? Wait. It's going to be legend. Wait for it. Dairy, less legendary. We are doing How I Met Your Mother, my personal all-time favorite TV show. I cannot wait.
Me too. I'm really looking forward to talking about this.
Yeah. And one of the things we're breaking down is whether or not those Canadian stereotypes are true. And I'm here to
I can't wait to ask you about them.
Spoilers, it's bullshit. Well, except for Tim Hortons. That's true. So, yes, definitely join us next week as Ben and I sit down and we break down season 1 of How I Met Your Mother, which it's actually amazing how that show is 15 years old now.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That came out the year I graduated high school.
Me too.
I never would have thought that show turned 16 years old now. Wow.
And there's just a little bit of it that dates it. And I mean, yeah, Barney Stinson's a little problematic, but I mean, for the most part, the show still holds up. It's taking all my energy right now not to finish the series way even before we start the show. Like I have to say, okay, episodes tonight. Only 2 episodes.
Slow down.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do. So yeah, definitely join us next week as we sit down and we break down the gang at McLaren's. So for Ben and for John, I will bid you all a good night, and don't forget, everybody, smash cancer.
It seems like only yesterday we started, but soon we'll put away our books and pens. We'll go on with our lives once we have parted, but how can we say farewell to our friends? The double days, the parties and the dances, cramming for a midterm until 3.
The football games, the Macs and the